Hello and welcome to Wallybois. Anyway, this is going to be a quickie. I'm just doing a little quick video because I need to make a bracket. I need to make a bracket for my microphone in my studio. Because it's kind of like positioned just there and the light is behind it, and I get this like shape of a microphone on my head. And although it might not be that noticeable, to me it's irritating. I keep seeing that and I get, yeah. Anyway, so what I want to do is I want to lower my microphone so it's just below my big light, with the big softbox, So I just want to get it below it. To do that, because at the moment it's on my wooden bracket that I made in this workshop, on microphone bracket, it pulls out, But at the moment it's mounted onto the shelf. So I think, okay, if I can bring it down a little bit and reverse the microphone the other way up, the light can come above the microphone, and then I don't get this weird shape on the side of my head. Yeah, it looks a bit odd. I'm odd enough as it is. I don't need it to be, accentuated. No. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make a little bracket. I'm going to make a bracket. It's basically a shelf bracket, but it's a shelf bracket I've kind of used, or the design I've used a lot in my in my house generally, and at other places. It's such a simple design that can be used on its own, where you can just put a shelf slapped straight back on top of it, or it could incorporate the shelf itself. And that's what we've done in my actual office itself. The shelving that goes around in my office has been made pretty much in the same fashion. Now, the wood I got, I didn't want to use my good timber because it's in my house, and I'm not that bothered. All that's going to look absolutely fine. It does have a bit of old worm in it. It's old worm, but But I've just took it out the freezer. Well, not just, I took it out this morning. I've actually put it in the microwave to try it off before I made this shelf, this bracket. And by putting it in the freezer overnight, you'll just kill anything that might be in it. If there is anything alive in it, which I don't think there is, we'll just destroy. Yeah, they'll freeze, you see, because they've got liquid in them, and they'll explode inside the wood. So that if there is any if there was any live woodworm in here, like little larvae in this bit of wood, they exploded like a stick. Okay, alright. So what we're going to do is going to make a bracket. So I've already cut the bits of wood to length because I thought I wasn't actually going to do a video. I thought, let's just do it live. So I've got one bit of wood there, and I've got one bit of wood there, and basically one bit of wood's going to be plonked onto the wall. Yeah, so that's the bit we're going to be screwing to the wall itself. In this case, it'll be screwed to a stud because it's a plasterboard wall. There's insulation behind and stuff, you see. And so it'll be screwed to a stud on there. But then this bit is the bit's going to stick out, and it's going to allow me to mount the microphone away from the wall. So I can mount it to the wall, and the microphone bracket that's already on will be mounted to this, either with a clamp, or I might, if I'm happy with the position, I'll screw it on. But for starters, I'll probably just use a woodworking clamp, a G-clamp. So how do we fix this to that? All right. But also, how do we stop from doing that? All right. This is actually a really simple way of doing a shelf. Now, if, for instance, you were just doing a shelf and you want to incorporate your brackets within your shelf, well, then you just need that and some kind of bracket to, some kind of support. But because we're not doing a shelf, in this case, we need a piece of timber coming out, basically, to support what I want to support. You could also use this for shelves. Obviously, you could put a shelf directly on top of that. But you can save yourself that job if, for instance, that was to become your long shelf. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do anyway. So I've got my few bits of crappy wood. They are literally crappy bits of wood. So you can make them out of virtually anything, really. And let me just double check here. Oh, we've got some viewers. Hello, viewers. I hope the audio's okay. I hope it's not peaking, and I hope it's loud enough. I'm trying to be clear. Yeah, it looks okay. The meters look okay. And I'm sure my dogs are going to be coming in for treats later as well. Probably. But anyway, it ain't going to take that long. And it's going to be a short video because I've got to get ready for my live stream tonight. Yes, I'm going live on all shorts tonight as well. That'll be 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock British Standard Time. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Or GMT. Right, so first of all, we've got to think, how do we fix these two bits together? This little triangle that I've cut, I'm going to put to one side for the minute. Don't need to worry about it at the moment. I need to clean it up and plane it up and what have you. I don't need to worry about it for the moment. This nasty bit is going to go to the wall. And this bit here is the bit that's going to be sticking out. Even this isn't a great bit of wood. If you look at the grain on that, I don't know if you can see it on there. Oh, on that side, on camera. If you look at the grain on that, it's all over the place. There's a knot in the end here, and it's all over the place. It's a wickedly hard piece of timber. But for what I'm using for doesn't really matter. So I don't want to use my good stuff because I need it. I can make these windows and I need all my decent tin. I'm holding it back, you see. So I don't have to go and buy any more at the moment. Or see if more. I've got a little load of seasoning. I don't think it's dry enough yet, especially in this the weather we're facing at the moment. It's cold and damp. Yes, it's freezing cold in here. Right, so some problems with the cameras, but I've positioned that one near the bench like so. So hopefully you can see that okay. So first of all, we need to clean these bits of wood up in the sense that they need to be straight and true, and also exactly the same thickness. They should be because they were cut out the same piece of wood. So see, that's a manky old bit. It'll get used for something. I don't waste anything, me. No. So effectively, that's going to be the bracket that'll support her. But in this case, really, how do we fix all this stuff together? So to starters, we need to fix this. It's probably that way around because it's the worst edge to that. No, to starters, no. We've got to draw it all up, which we're going to do with my number 7 hand plane. This is my most used hand plane. It's the biggest one. So we're going to plane that. Let's bring it down just so it's just 2. That's it. Dee, 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 dee. Oh, I do love a plane. This is my therapist. My woodworking therapy, and this is my therapy. Therapist is my number 7 hand plane. Make sure the grain's going the right way. It's a bit awkward. I've got a knot there, and if you look here, there is grain's going that way. All right. If I plane from that direction, the blade will catch into all those end grains and create what you call tear out. So if I do it this way, I can prevent that. La 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 la. I keep double checking because okay, you've got viewers here. Top chat. Live chat. Ah, there's people here. Hello there, everybody. Hello, MadMonk33. I hope you're well. MadMonk, hoity hi. Here we are going live tonight. Thought I was the first one here watching speed skating. Speed skating? I could do that. Okay, no, I can't. Good afternoon, Bernard. I am hungry. What? In hospital? But not in. Oh, crikey. I hope you're alright, Bernard. What do you use? What? What do you use? Curve and phrase. I don't know what that even is. Curve and phrase. Is that curve and phrase or? Oh, I ain't got a clue. And my factory thinks. Hoping the top. Yeah. I bet you are getting. That's one thing I really hate. Hello, Casper. If you're in hospital, it's just that constant wait. I haven't. To be fair, I've never spent overnight in a hospital, so I'm quite lucky there. But I've had my little operation and other procedures. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, which is that day procedure. But just the wait and even the, oh god, I get so bored. I've got no patience. I really have. And you can probably tell. So, right. So we're going to go back into there. Anyway, let's get to it, shall we? I think we should. There we go. Back over here we are. Right. So I'm planing in that direction so I don't get caught, and like I said, if I planed in that direction it'll feel, yeah, it's rough. It's all tear out there. You might not see it, but there's tear out there. So I'm going to go that way. Hence that. And now the tear out has disappeared. Right, so I clean that face up, that's a sawn face, that's a sawn face. I've got to decide whether or not I'm going to put a 45 on there. Might do, might not. That's going to be fixing. Now the crappy end, is going to be fixed towards this end. Alright, so first of all, have I played that already? No, I haven't. Also, it feels a bit piffy. No, that side's not planed yet. That grain's going all different directions. That's hard to work out what way it is going. No, that's going all different directions. It might be better that way. Let's try that way. So these are all bits of wood that Oda said, no, not using that. And put it one side. And now I am. I want it to be exactly the same thickness, or width, sorry, as that one, which is not. It's fractionally over. So I'll just keep playing it until I'm satisfied. That size right there. Is it true? Need a bit of work on there anyway. That way. Let's try that way. La 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 la. Now, it's a good idea when you're playing like this. It's just make it easier on yourself. So instead of it, oh, you have it 100% flat like that, or definitely not uphill, but like that, you make life hard. Make it easy for yourself by pointing it down just a fraction, and then the weight of the plane will help you push forwards. Especially if you've got a nice heavy plane like a number 7. Right, if you are thinking about getting yourself a number 7 plane, Footprint makes one. Although I wouldn't say they are the best plane in the world, by no means. They are really good value for money. They're about 60, 70 pounds, so they're really cheap. For a number 7, that's ridiculously cheap. Do need a little bit of work, you know, especially with on the you know, on your plane iron. But the plane itself is actually very usable. You might want to change the handle, you know, the knob and the tote, But on the whole, they're excellent value for money. The castings are not bad, and that's the main, yeah, and obviously the machinery behind it, as in the adjusters and stuff like that, and the lever cap. They're all pretty good on the Footprint. Not Footprint, Faithful. Is it Faithful or the Footprint? I can't remember now. Faithful. On the Faithful. It's a cheap, probably Chinese import, like a lot of these things. But they are very good. Oh, other than that, go for one of the American planes such as Lee Nelson, if you can afford about £500, $500, whatever they are, €500, I can't remember, a lot of money anyway. Not everyone can afford that, I certainly can't. And, well, I have to admit, you do find some of these channels, they've got all these wonderful planes. Still too narrow. Probably about too narrow now. I know I haven't, because it's gone that way, that's fine. You do find a lot of these YouTube channels, and you see all their lovely planes, all glossy and shiny in the background. You know, it's left a decent. Oh, use that. Use an ordinary pencil. I've left my proper pencil in the house, which is a bit annoying. Use one of these ones. Oh no, it needs sharpening. Get in there. Jim Lad. So it's not critical. I need to make sure that there's room up top there, because there's going to be a fixing in there, you see, to fix to the wall. So you've got to make sure you've got a room for that. Plus, it's possible I might take that top arris off, so I might put 45 on the top of that in a minute. So you've got to make sure you've got enough room for that. So once that's on there, screw, make sure you get drilling. So I'd say a little bit more. Look at about 50mm in this case. Looks like about 50mm. It's not critical. I'm only making one of these, so it's not as though I'm going to be matching up with those others. So it's not a problem. If you're doing more than one, you could put a shelf up. Obviously, if you're doing two, you've got to make sure this cut that we're about to do is going to be in exactly the right place. There's various ways we can do the cut. We can do it on my radial arm saw, which I might do, might not. Or we can cut it by hand and use a I'll tell you what, we'll cut by hand for a change, shall we? So, because it is quite lazy using a radial arm saw. Besides, the blooming camera still isn't working over there. So I need to find what's going on with these cameras. I think my computer's struggling to run 5 webcams on all the USB ports, because obviously I've got to assign the ports on the computer. So I just do cut line and just use a pencil just to make it so it's a bit more visible. So that's my cut line. Then I've got to decide on, well, first of all, I'll tell you what I'm doing it for. What we're going to do is, this is what you call, if you're American, you call it a rabbit. In England, you might call it a channel. But you basically that is going to be dropped into that bit of wood. And that's part of the structure of this very, very simple bracket. Now, oh my God, it might scare you. If it does scare you, you can just put a couple of dowels in there if you want. Or even just one dowel. But you don't even have to line them up. All you do is, if you want to use dowels, when I say wooden dowels, I'm talking about things like these little blighters, but bigger. If you want to use these little round dowels, what you just do is, you can clamp it together, but one clamp over there, then you drill right through, and then knock your dowel through with the glue, while it's still clamped up. Then whack a screw in, and then do exactly the same thing with a second dowel. So you know, 2 dowels and screw in the middle. That will work, but this is better, and it's nicer. I think it's nicer. So what we've got to do, we need to think about how deep we want this to go. It don't need to be very deep. I usually go about 1/3 in. That's what I normally do. It's just to lock the end. That's all. Don't go too far in, because you'll weaken your structure. Got to find the... Oh, it's over there, right in front of my eyes. The ideal thing to use with something like a marking gauge, like this little one here. This little drape one. I did have another one here earlier. I can't find it. got one I made in school. It's a little wedge. Instead of having a screw down just like that, I had a wedge here. You slide the wedge in. Quite old, so I'm not critical. It's not critical whereabouts I'm going with this. I'm saying about a third in. I'm guessing it again because I'm only making one of these, so that's about right. So when you use your marking gauge like this one, if you're going to use marking gauge, you can just use a pencil like this if you wanted to. Just literally do that with your pencil. But for the purpose of this video, you know, if you've got tools, good to know how to use them. So when you use a marking gauge, you don't want to have it at 90 degrees perpendicular to your piece of wood. Do that. Because it'll go all over the flipping place. You're then following the grain. And if you look at that piece of wood there, that grain is, well, it's not straight. So, yeah, you'd end up with a wonky line. So what you do is, so it doesn't follow the grain, you put down that way round. Let's tighten it up. And then you literally lower the pin into, what way around that way? Oh, that way around. Everything's reversed. You actually lower the pin in at an angle as you're pulling it forwards, or pushing it forward, sorry. And then you have more control. That's my point. You have more control. But even better if you put that in the vise when you do it, because then it'll hold it for you. You know, it's another pair of hands, isn't it? So all I'm gonna do is bring it down like so, like that. So you just almost like you're rocking it into the piece of wood. And that way you'll make your mark where it needs to be, and it won't literally just be following the grain. And I'm overdoing this to emphasise. Don't need to be that mark. Then you put your little pencil line in that. Normally I'll be using my mechanical pencil, which I left in the kitchen, like a fool. Or is it in there? No, it's in the kitchen. Those mechanical pencils are really good. So good the same on this side. It's just rocking it in. Also your pin needs to be fairly sharp. You know, not crazy sharp, but it needs to be sharp. And then I'm just going to run that down there like so. And you know, if you're going deeper than that, you might find it necessary to use your square to line up your marks on the face. And we'll bring it around here, like so. These marks here, if you want to line them up down to your bottom line, but it's not very deep. And if you can't cut, 90 degrees at that, at about a quarter of an inch. Oh, 6 mil. There's something wrong. You might practice your sawing skills first. But this is a really simple bracket. I know I'm using rubbishy materials. They're still oak. I'll still look cool. We'll see it anyway, right? It's going to be covered with all the wires and stuff. So I'll put it in the vise like so. And then I'm going to use a saw. Yes, I could do it in the radial arm saw, which is that machine I've shown you before. That's your saw on a rail, backs and forwards, until you cut all your slots. Yes, you could do it on a table saw, using what we call a sledge, and slide it backwards and forwards. You can do it that way. But we're not going to. We're going to do it by hand. One thing is, it's that same thing again, isn't it? It's having the hand tools. It's just like therapy. That's what it is. Hello, Ginger. Simon, I ain't not at all. You're still in bed? Oh, comes. Hope you're well. We are going live tonight. Right, so we are going to use a chisel. Now, we could use a firmer chisel like that one. That's a firmer chisel, where you have no bevels on the edges, which I may use, but it's not actually such a good chisel for this job. And the reason for that is there's shoulders, and because there's shoulders, you could make it a little bit harder to go into the edge. But another way of looking at it also means you might, with a firmer chisel like this one, you're less likely to gouge the edges of your. So it depends on what you prefer, really. They'll both do the same job effectively. So if I show you this chisel, the one we salvaged the other day, that was all rusty, really, really rusty, and now it's a usable chisel again. So this chisel here, it's got your bevels. That's why it's called a bevel chisel. I also changed the design of it as well when we reground these shoulders, because they're the heels, because quite frankly they're ridiculously thick at that point, and it's too thick to be a bevel-edged chisel. I know I rant on about that whenever I talk about it, because it bugs me. I don't know why, it just does. Sorry. And yes, I will be carrying on with that door we started making the other day at some point. Not today, because I need to get ready for my live show and I get my microphone back on the wall. Because that's what this bracket is for my microphone. Although it can also be a shelf bracket. So now what we're going to do is just going to cut this out using this saw. This is a little back saw. like a little tenon saw. That's exactly what it is, a little tenon saw. It's a great little saw. So it's always a good idea to grab yourself a little bit of wax. I don't know what it is about wax in this place. I always lose my wax. There you are. A little bit of wax on there as well. Right. I know you can say, hey, don't have the glue. Oh my god, any difference whatsoever. So you can start in various ways, just go gentle. Now, what I do is on the last few teeth, when I sharpen my saw, I sharpen these all by hand with a file, so you can imagine how difficult that is. You think this one's difficult? Even me giddy aunt. My little dovetail saw, I sharpen that by hand. Mad. Yeah, I'm a nutter. Right. The thing is, though, if you can buy obviously those ready sharpened saws, but they're just not right. They're just sharpened wrong, in my opinion, anyway. I don't like them anyway, so what you do is, to start off, we've got our 2 scribe lines, which we did with the marking knife that I made out of an old saw blade. There's a video of that on my channel. It's a Kiradashi marking knife. So basically what you do is you can start off by using your thumb as a guide. Can you actually see that? I don't know. So use your thumb as a guide there, like that, to stabilise the saw. And you can do a couple of strokes backwards, and it gives you a start. But because I've I run the flat file over the first few teeth, I can actually do it from here. So that way it doesn't grab and go crazy. Saws generally aren't sharpened like that. But that is a technique that most woodworkers who use saws that are, hand sharpened, or resharpenable saws, that's what you do. Now, there's another tip here. If you are going deeper, all right, and you think, I'm going to struggle getting that at 90 degrees. If you've got a piece of wood cut off at 90 degrees, another little tip for you. A little bit of wax on the end, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. What you can do is you can use that as a guide. If you've got enough room, you can do it that way. But generally, that's enough. And what you do is you put it in you started. So you've got a saw in the slot, which is, you just started sawing. Grab your piece of wood like so, and you push it up against it like that. And that's cut 90 degrees. So you hold that towards the bottom, and as long as that top isn't got a big gap on it, or you're trying to push the bit of wood away, you're going to go down your bit of wood in the saw cut at 90 degrees. Just a little technique, and once you get started, you can take that out of the way because you're already going in the right direction. I'm not going very deep, am I? So it's only going down about 10 mil, about 3/8. Same on this one here. Now what I'm going to do is, well, you don't have to. If you're not happy sawing on the left side of the mark because you can't see it very well, it's easier if you're sawing on the right hand side of your mark. Flip a bit of wood around, but I'm quite comfortable just sawing on here like that. Yeah, again, you can do that again if you want. Just get started, and that's just almost guarantees you're going to be at 90 degrees. Sawing down into your piece of wood. It's a simple tip or technique. You can do a similar using an electric drill. You can pretty much do the same thing. But what you want though, you want 2 bits of wood joined together like that. If you're doing it with a drill. So say for instance you're drilling downwards. That's perpendicular to that, and that's perpendicular to that. Yeah. So that joint here, that corner, is going to be perpendicular, just there. Because it's perpendicular, if you come down, say for instance if this was your drill, you're coming down with your drill bit like that, and you use that as a way, as a guide for your drill bit. So when you first start going in, you start going in at 90 degrees, and then the rest of the hole should be at 90 degrees. Right, now what I need to do is clean this out. Now we also use that chisel or that chisel, but I like my old chisels. I do. I'm a bit of a fanatic, I am. I've got my old mallet. I made this, which is a bit of an overkill, that one. So we'll use something small, a little bit more dainty. We can use the smaller mallet, such as that one. And this one I've had for years. I didn't make this one. This is old, I think it's an old Marbles one. I've had it for such a long while. I'll tell you what we do need to do. I need to make a mallet for carving, carver's mallet. They're basically round and usually made out of ligament vitae, which is really hard timber. But I've got some old American walnut, which will also do the job. Now, when you do this, what you've got to be careful of, you can literally, if you go like this, which I will do in a moment, you can cause a problem. So what you've got to think about, I'll take this out again, is that scribe you just put in there if I start doing that close to the edge, what will happen is I won't just break off there. That's likely to break off for the grain, and then you end up with a real rough edge. So there's various things you can do to prevent that. One is you can grab your chisel, put it onto that scribe, you give it a few little taps. So you're starting. You're creating an influence. You're trying to influence it to go in the right direction. You don't want it to damage your edges. Not always the end of the world. Something doesn't matter. But if you're worried about the width of the actual end product, well then you might want to think about doing this, because it will help prevent breakout of that edge. Now I'm not going to go to one thing we can do here. This is the kind of way you should do it when you're using downward force with your chisel. And this is very hard because it's got a lot of knots and it's a very hard piece at that point. So various ways we can do it. We can put it in the vise. You could do that, I suppose. But what you'll find is when you're hitting down, it's going to go down and down, down into your vise. That's not very helpful, is it? So I use one of these old record hold downs because they're brilliant. If you can get older one, they are brilliant. Let's move that camera up a little bit, I think. Right. Okay, there. That's right. Yeah, I use one of these little hold downs. So, let's see what you're saying. Oh, it's done that again. Oh, it's so annoying when it does that. Oh, that has changed the camera around. Oh, goody gumdrops. Goodies, goody gumdrops. Hello, Duke. And Duke says, I've always failed at woodworking. I'm much better with metal and electronics. I'm quite good, reasonable. I'm good at metal. I'm not bad at electronics either. I haven't done it for such a long while, mind. I like one of the little microscopes. You know, one little stereo microscopes for electronic work. That'd be good, especially if you're doing any work on boards. You know, PCB, plastic circuit boards. So now what we're going to do now, I am going to help it a little bit by creating some cuts this way. This is where I didn't want, that's why I did this on the side. I didn't want it to break out. It could still break out, but just good enough, just enough to tighten up. That's it. Should be a block under there, or a bit of rubber really. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a load of sideways. Oh, I'll have to reposition myself so you can see. Camera would have been better in the other direction, wouldn't it? Now this bit of wood is really vulnerable because what's happening is, as I'm doing, so I can see little cracks forming over here, but I will solve that later. That's because the wood I'm using is it's not the best. Not ready for this job, but I got it and I'm going to use it. I'm not going to say, oh, I don't like to waste anything. That's better. Let's get that out. So work my way along. God, it's a hard old bit of wood, I'll tell you. Now this handle here is getting a little bit loose. I need to do something with this chisel. One thing you do is just dunk it in some water. What happens? The wood will expand and tighten up around the spur on this chisel on the blade. Now I've done all those little cuts that way, I can then remove it off the bench. I'm going to put it into the vise. There's various reasons I'm going to do this. One is, you can have this, whereas this has a problem with downward force, that's going to have a problem with sideways force. So now I'm going to clean that off, going sideways force. The other thing is, if there is any attempt to break out, the vise is pinching on the sides, on these cheeks, and it could prevent breakout. It could help there. Plus I use it as a visual guide as well. So I'm just going to tap across there to remove some of that waste. Remember this wood, it's got grain going all different directions. So it's a real horrible piece of wood to actually do this with. So I've got to try my best to, bit by bit, peel it off. It is literally trying to go in all different directions. So it's one of the, oh yeah, isn't it just? You can't go mad. Be patient. Patience isn't my virtue. No. Saying that, I am quite patient with people, unless they're Brexiters. Did I say that out loud? Oh, I did. Oh dear. but we shouldn't worry anyway, because Boris Johnson, what's he been doing? He's putting some helpful words in for Richie Sunak this morning. And Penny Mordaunt is saying, as Boris has been, Boris. Oh, the madness continues. Right, so I've got the worst of the material out. You said it, like I said before, this is actually a really difficult bit of wood to work with, because you've got a knot there, for instance. So you've got all this tear out going on there. But because I've been taking it easy, you see that bit there is nice, it's relatively smooth and flat. And that bit there is obviously manky, because I haven't been taking it easy. So I'm going to carry on taking it easy, but in the other direction. I know I'm making it take, making it. Normally this is a really quick job, but obviously because I'm doing a video. I'm live. Oh, I'm live. It's better than the opposite. Unless it's Brexit. Oh, I said it again. Oh my God, there's not supposed to be politics on there. No, don't do it. Woodworking. That's all clean those edges. That will bring you a bit closer. Can I get you closer? I'm still on the wrong camera. Oh, you plonker. There you go. Oh, what an idiot. I need a producer. I need a producer. Right, we're down here now. Okay, I might see if I can get you a bit closer. Is that any better? Or is it? I don't know. Has that camera gone off again? It has, isn't it? Oh, that is so annoying. Right, is that better? There you go, that's better. Oh, it's soft and doesn't cut you or give you splinters. What's that? Oh, yarn. No, it doesn't. No. And you can make things that keep you warm. I'm just using a bit of control now. Short strokes. So I'm not trying to like force it through. I'm just like, I'm not trying to cut past it. It's not like if you're going to try to punch somebody in the face and you want to hit, so the face goes into the back of the head. You're not trying to do that. What you're trying to do is you're stopping short effectively. So you don't want to get carried away. I'm not suggesting anyone should go, go around punching people in the face, because it's not very nice. No. Oh my God. I'm going to do a live stream on this later. But there's something happening in YouTube again. Something that's not just going to affect YouTube, it's going to affect pretty much every platform out there. And if Ronaldo Gonzalez, if he wins the case against Google, this overnight we will see, pretty much overnight, because it'll have to be, or it seems that way anyway, it potentially could be overnight, and we'll start seeing changes. Not necessarily because it's made law, but because they'll have to start, new laws, and that'll probably be presented or made in response of it, because it's going to stand precedence. It will. In this case, basically means at the moment, there's a act. Obviously, Gingers knows all about this. There's an act called what's it called? A part of this act is the 230 Act. Part of this act, and it's it basically states, it's like 26 words, and it basically states that a platform cannot be held responsible for the content that's put on their platform. That's pretty much it. But Ronaldo Gonzalez is he's arguing it, saying it's not necessarily it's not legal. Not necessarily legal. It's not. It shouldn't be the case. So and as a result, is that tight in there yet? A little bit on the tight side. I've got a couple of choices. I can take a little bit off here. Make it a little bit thinner so it slots in there. You don't want to force this, because if you force it, you end up breaking this bit off. But anyway, what can happen is that already the onus is put onto, a lot of the onus regarding legalities is put onto the creators such as myself. So if I do something that's libelous or something like that, I could be sued. All right, but that could all change. Or it could be a case that we both get sued. But what's happening is they're trying to make the platform itself liable for the content on the platform. It's whether it is a publisher or not. But it's going to affect every single platform out there. Any platform, especially who pushes content, such as suggested content, such as you get on YouTube, such as stuff you get in your feeds, such as what makes the money, as in the advertising on these platforms. I said this before, I think a lot of creators will end up moving away from the advertiser platform. And look, obviously, the partner program within like YouTube or all these other platforms, or like for instance AdSense regarding Google Ads and stuff like that. But the fact Google and all these platforms will have less power of what they can do or what they can provide for advertisers, and it'll just make everything. Oh, here goes the camera now. Oh, that's going stupid now. That's not very helpful. Oh, really having problems with these cameras. Oh, that one though, that's not helpful. Okay, that is getting crazy. It's getting crazy. I'll go to that camera then. My cameras they're failing me one by one. Do you reckon it's Google? It might be Google. Or was it Ronaldo Gonzalez? It might be one of them two. So hopefully now that might slot into there. Oh, not quite. Where that end? Should be a bit more room there. There is. So will it go in there? It's fairly tight. Is it too tight? No, it's perfect. Perfect. So it's tight enough to tap in, but not cause any structural damage. So that's in there now. Alright, so that's that bit. It's so simple. And like I said, normally it'd be a lot quicker than that. But now I want to think about, before I start putting this together, about all the other little parts of this to make it easy. Before I put it together, so things are in the way, I'll make sure I put my holes in where I want my screw holes are going to be and stuff like that. So I'll get that done. But I'm not putting any screw holes in that bit, but I've got to clean up all the edges and the corners and stuff and decide whether I'm going to put an arrow. I'm not going to take the arrows off this bit because it's going to have another bit of wood attached to that probably. Just want to clean off. I mean, take it out. So I mean, like a big 45 on this bell bill, I think, on the bottom here. So I'm just going to put a 45 down the bottom. I've got to be careful of that because that wood's quite wormy. Old worm, I know, but it's still wormy. So I'm going to put a line across there. I could do it with a radial arm saw, or cut by hand and clean it up, or just wing it. Could just wing it. Or we could use a... Have I got a 45 block in here? I might have. Oh, things are falling out all over the place. Oh dear. Oh dear, I've got a 45 block. Where has it gone? Where has it gone? Obviously it'll be a lot quicker on the saw, but we're going to use a handsaw. We're going to use the handsaw again. What's wrong with that blooming camera? It's really annoying me. Right. Oh, don't want that. It's too fine. Right, I'm going to wing this, so I'm just going to cut 45 thereabouts, like so. I'm not doing a miter joint, so it doesn't have to be that accurate. Just so it matches some of the other brackets that I've got on my wall, really. That's what they are. Last little bit, there you go. Right, cutting into the bench. So I'll just cut 45 on there. In the wormy wood. Wormy wood! That's what I'll clean that up. We have a block plane. We've got one here. We have a block plane. Is this one sharp? Ooh, not very. What I'll do is I'll drop this in the vise a little bit. Right, then what I'm going to do, if I can find another bit of wood, such as that bit will do, I don't want any breakout. So what you can do is this. You see what I'm doing there? I'm going to put another bit of wood behind it, like that. I don't know what's going on with these cameras, because they were all working really well, and now all of a sudden they start to be a pain. Now if you look here, what I've done is I've put a piece of wood behind that bit of wood. Because if I just try and plane across there, even though it's a low angle hand plane, what could end up happening is you end up getting breakout at that point and just go all over the place. So this hair effectively raised the cheek of the vice higher, and that will help squeeze right along that edge of this piece of timber, for which now I can plane with this hand plane. Hopefully it's sharp enough. I don't know if it is actually. I might have to quickly sharpen it. Oh, it's alright, that'll do. So I'm going right across, you see, because I've got that in it. This makes it possible. You see? Like so. Yes, I'm wearing slippers, by the way. Quick for health and safety. I'm sure those chisels would love, diving into my feet. Right, so now we're going to clean up all these edges, get rid of these arises off there. Really, I would have done the same with the top as well, don't I? Need to take that one off. So it's a 45 on there as well. I've got room for the screw, should be better. Yeah, fine. Yes, I'm winging it again. Winging it. I'll bring it further, probably. Oh, springy. That'll do. Not quite as big as the other one, but who cares? Well, I could sort that with the hand plane, I suppose. Where's my microphone? Is it still on? Yeah, it's still on. Right, nearly there. Just going to try and break that last bit off, so I'll start slowing down to try and get my cut as near as I can to the edge. This is really annoying because I've got the camera above this bench, so I can zoom in with. But it's really annoying that I can't actually make it work at the minute. I don't know what's going on. It's not the cameras, it's the it's happening to all of them. It's to do with something with that computer. I just hadn't had time to try and work out what's actually going on, so it's a bit annoying. So we're trying to sort the garden out at the moment, get ready for the growing season. And we're trying to do, obviously, the videos for the other channel, and also our showroom, which is a bit of a mess at the moment. There we go. It's really sharpening. But there again, it's a really hard old bit of oak, I must admit. That's fine, that'll do that. So now I'm going to take the arises off, and we could do that with, get a bit out of the way. We can do that with just with hand plane like this, and just a couple of stripes. Ooh, there's a bit of a tear out there. God, what direction do you go on that one? Let's try that way. So on that one. Probably better with a bit of sandpaper doing that. Or the rotor. That's good, and just do that there. That one there. I like when you do it with hand plane because you get that kind of natural sort of look. Do you know what I mean? Like a bit more, you know, like it's medieval even. Oh, medieval. When you get that sort of that's not uniform, everything feels that more real. It's like it's you know, that it is handmade because it's not perfect. I think that's part of the problem with this GPT. That's also the thing I talked about earlier will affect Chat GPT as well. That affects pretty much everything that requires sell advertising, and advertising is just generally pushed or pulled content, you know, regarding your exposure to it. So it could potentially, unless something changes, I think we could be seeing some massive changes to how we consume content. And I think some of it is going to be, which will kill the internet in some ways, and that's what this has been branded as. I don't know if anyone knows the Legal Eagle, but someone put me onto him after I talked about this the other day. It was yesterday or the day before. I put it on Twitter, and someone shared with me a video that was put on by the Legal Eagle in the United States, and pretty much confirming what my fears were, because it might not sound like much, to most people that really, oh, well, I don't like advertising anyway. Well, no, we don't like the advertising, but at the end of the day, these platforms don't exist without it, do they? So we've got our two components. I've cleaned up the edges. I don't want to put a 45 on that bit at all. This bit's going to go, this is effectively the shelf part. So if you were going to be having shelves go across here, well, they'd be slotted in that way, like that. Yeah, into that. And then the other support becomes from your actual brace. But the whole thing becomes interconnected, so the brackets become a part of the shelf. But that's not what I'm making here today, or we're making here today, because that's not what I'm after. So we're going to have that in there, like so. But first of all, I need to sand it, because it's a bit prickly. The wood's got damp, it's been in the freezer, and the grain's lifted. So I'm just going to use my little air sander for that. Yeah, that's fine enough. That'll do. Air sanders are brilliant for various reasons. One is they don't use electricity at your hand. Obviously you've got a compressor that uses electricity. Unless you've got like a horse-drawn compressor, if there's such a thing. But they don't, because of this oscillation here, this dual action on here, it doesn't seem to go all over the place. And also they create very little dust. The dust tends to stay where it is, in its vicinity. Whereas the electric ones, with all the little fans and stuff to keep the dust out of the motors, it just blows the dust everywhere. It's a nightmare. But these things are great. And also you can put dust extractor on this if you want to, but there's no point. Well, there's a point, but I don't bother. Let me see that. The dust, you probably can't see that actually, the dust stays on the bit of wood. It just moves it about. Yeah, it does blow a certain amount in the air, obviously, but nothing like it does on a typical electric sander. The only thing here, also lovely and smooth. I'll tell you what one thing about this wood is, because it's an extremely hard bit of oak because of all the knots, you get it really smooth. The downside though with these sanders is the fact that they need a lot of air, so it means you need a big compressor. The other reason I'm not using, A grade or but B grade timber for this job, that was basically scrap timber really, is I don't know how long I was going to be there for. It's only a bracket for a microphone, so I don't like it like that. And then decide to put it somewhere else. So literally, my adjustable bracket that I have for my in my studio is going to be mounted onto this. So I can get it a little bit further away from the wall and get the actual microphone lower than my lights. Because at the moment, the way my lights are set up, I've got the two setups I have for my lives, but also when I do my editing and stuff. And the lights I sometimes use, because I've got the two cameras set up. I've got one camera set up for shorts and the other camera set up for a horizontal format and my live shows. And I'm trying to utilise one of the lights for both setups. And at the moment, in both cases, the microphone's always in the way. Right. As long as there's no splinters. Right, so now that, quite happy at that, knot's going down, so I get hidden behind the brace. And then that's going to be tapped into there, so we need a bit of glue in there. So it's not going to be a long video, this one. So I need to be doing my other stuff as well. But we're going to be live tonight on All Shorts channel. And I'm talking about the demise of the British car industry. I've worked really hard on this script, and it's it's a mixture of stuff that, it's obviously stuff I found online from other people have been writing their opinions about. Put my take to it as well. But it's oh yeah, basically it's how the car industry effective is. Ever since Thatcher, really. Although she did help somewhat with, well, she negotiated the deals. Like, for instance, she got Nissan there, didn't she? You know, destroyed everything else, and obviously coal mining. Although coal mining would be pretty much dead now anyway. Yes, about right. Squeeze it in there. Oh, needs that side there a bit more. Oh, squirt that glue out. Squirt it out. That way you do it. You put it in the vise if the vise is big enough, or you can put a clamp on there, which I might end up doing. But before I do, do I do that? Just put a clamp on it. Yeah, I do. It's not flat. So I'll use a clamp. I'll take one off my boards that I glued up for my little door, which is also going to go in the office. So you can put that on there like that. I'm going to squeeze it up. There you go, that's squeezed up. There, glue. Right, I'll take off, that's only temporary. Now what I can do is I'll whack a screw in that. I'll put a screw in that. So basically we just snap it again. I'll go wipe the glue off, I know. And I'll put a screw in the back of that, but you won't see that. But if you were doing this as a shelf unit, you can get away with not putting. Oh, do you know what I didn't do? I'm an idiot. I didn't put my screw hole in. I talked about it, but before we put these together, I could still probably take it out actually and do that. Put your holes in for your screws first. Yeah, it's quite tight though. If I can get it in without doing that, I will. Yeah, enough room. But what you do is you'd have your bracket fitted on here first, right? Instead of this piece, you'd have that fitted on first, and then when you install it, you can hide a screw behind where the actual shelf is going. So you have a screw behind here. You won't be using any glue at this point, you see. And then the shelf will be screwed down to the brace. You know, screws and plugs. So effectively you have these braces like that one, be on there like that, but that becomes the shelf. And that'll be a dry joint, not a glue joint. What an idiot. Can I get that in there? Yes. Easy. Normally I wouldn't do it this way. I'm not plugging them screws, because it's my office, I'm not that worried. The bottom screw really doesn't do a lot, apart from aligning the shelf. So all your load is obviously on the top screw. So whatever fixing you're concerned about on your shelves, make sure that the top one is solid, and the bottom one's basically just stops it from twisting side to side. That's the important one. I need to wipe that glue off. Well, there'll be some more glue in a minute, so don't worry about that moment. Right, so I'm going to first run the plane over that and clean this piece up, this brace. To aerosol. Sand it. It's not a great bit of wood, that isn't. It's actually got a split in it. Yeah, it has. So I've got to be careful putting my screws in. I'll whack a bit of glue in there as well. But I have to make sure I put something on the side there, like a clamp or something, just to stop it from splitting. But once it's all in, that'll be fine. Oh, that side's okay. That's okay. Dee. Right, I am going to. Oh, I'm gonna. There's a bit of a, you see that split in there? Not very helpful. But I'm not going to cut another one because I can't be bothered. So I'm going to do something that's going to take even longer. I'm going to put some glue in it. and whack another screw in, a blind screw, so you won't see the screw. So I'm going to whack that in there like that. Alright. Alright. I'm going to use my airline. Also, a pokey device. Usually have a pokey device up here, a pokey device. So I'm just going to push that into the crack. And this is so like silly really, because it's a little triangle of wood. I've got a load more of it. I could easily cut another one. But you know, argument's sake, let's say for instance you don't have that option. Push it down with that first. Make sure it's filled, and then if you've got an airline or blow down it even, I'm going to use the airline because I've got it. And you've got to be careful, you don't blow glue all over yourself. I'm just going to use that just gently, just to push it into the slot. I say gently. And whack that back in again, rub it back into that slot again, like so. And then drop it on the floor. That's mandatory, by the way. You've got to do that. You've got to drop it on the floor. That's it. That's enough in there now. So I'm going to put that in the vise, like that, or so. And we're going to put a screw. I've got to make sure the screw's not in a place where it's going to cause a problem. So I'll put right slap bang in the middle, because I know I won't be putting one slap bang in the middle over there. One will be enough. Just one screw. So all it takes is one screw. Do you know what I find very frustrating? Sometimes I make videos and they take me absolutely ages to write the scripts, do everything and what have you. And then you put a video up, there's literally it's almost like just a clip that you've maybe mashed up a bit, although the mashing up does take quite a while. But I put one up about Ian Hislop. And that video's done really, really well. It's about 15,000 views in a very short period of time. And it's then you put all the effort in a different video that I happen to be speaking on. That's I think that's the crux of the matter. It does really badly. I think people hate me. That's what it is. I've got a complex now. Alright, will that screw be long enough? And no, it won't. So I need a different screw. I'm keeping it in the vise, and that vise is going to help prevent the piece of wood from splitting. So the screw cuts its thread instead of trying to force the wood apart. So we leave it in the vise. I'm going to use that screw, it's quite long, isn't it? It's a 60mm. And we're going to screw it in. Hopefully that should do the job. Putting pressure on top at the same time as pushing it in. Never got to think about, is it too long, that screw? It might be too long. That is, start poking through. So, a 50, that's all, that'll do it. Perfect, I think. See if it goes right through again. Oh, just feel the tip of it. Just the tip. So that's fine. I'll sand it off. Yeah, so it squeezes the glue out. So it's basically the screws become the clamp to squeeze the glue out. And the glue is pretty much, well, it's gone at least halfway down on there, which isn't that be enough of that. It's only a bracket after all. So I'm just going to... Right, that's good. That's good enough. So what we're going to do now, we're now going to fix this into here. Now, that is 90 degrees, that I do know. At the moment, it's not perfectly at 90 degrees. For shelf, it's more important, obviously. This is just going to be mounting. That's why it's got the long tail, because it's going to be mounting my microphone articulated bracket onto that I keep looking at that camera thinking it's that one, I keep forgetting. But that one's not working, and that one's not working, that one over there ain't working, and that one ain't working. So I've only got one camera working. Out of 5. It's just one after the other. Systematic breakdown, that's what it is. Right. Next thing I need to do is to screw that there and there. You could put dowels in if you want. But I'm going to use screws because effectively it's going to clamp it all into place. Yeah. So it ends up the right angle, which it is now. That's good. Alright, so you could just dowel it on that, then you wouldn't have a screw fixed in the top. But I'm not actually worried about the screw fixed in the top. But if you did want to dowel it, I'll tell you what, I'm going to put a dowel in the top just so I can show you. Yeah, you can't put on a corner like this, I can't put a dowel in there and a dowel in there. Unless I push the dowel right through on one face. Which you could do in this instance because you've got the back, that's going to go towards the wall. And what I mean by this is that if, for instance, you're trying to do 2 dowels in there, how are you going to push them into the holes? You're not going to be able to, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dowel that one just so I can show you how I'm going to put a dowel in there. Really simply, really simple technique. And then we're going to put a screw in the other direction. Yeah, because it'll be here, you won't see it anyway. So, and then we can just, you know, you can glue and clamp it all together. Right, I ought to clean that glue off, but I'll do it in a minute. Oh, I'll do it in a minute. It's only a bracket for, yeah, I'm not trying to make it pretty. It's got to make it work. Right, we've got these little devices. You've got to have your little devices. Oh, I haven't got no 8mm dowels. I'd rather have 8mm dowels, but we do have some 6mm. Oh, it's a bit medium. That'll be good enough for that. Right, so what we need is a 6mm drill bit. It's not just a case of you drill 2 holes. How do you align those 2 holes? That's the crux of the matter. You've got to be able to align your holes. So if you don't align your holes, they won't be aligned. Is that stating the obvious? I think so. So let's move that light over. Oh, I really need to sort these lights out. I don't know what we're doing with those. That's better. So I've got this little, you know, over there, isn't it? Oh, I keep forgetting my so I've got this little like a little stop on there, and it just needs to be set so it's just over half. I'm only putting one of these little dowels. I would have gone for 8mm, but I'm really doing this for the purpose of showing you. So I've got this little dowel here. You need to make sure it's about halfway, you know, down the hole, so you don't end up drilling too deep, and you don't manage to push the glue up the side the because you want it to hydraulic glue up the side of the actual little dowel as well, ideally. So we're going to put that on there like so, and just slightly past centre. So you know it's deep enough, but it's not so shallow, so deep it ends up causing problems, making, you know, getting the glue where you need it. So these little beach dowels, I'm not a lover of them, but they are useful for certain things. I use them when I'm doing my little phone holders and stuff. They're quite handy. So first thing what we've got to do is we've actually got to drill a hole. Yeah, and I'm going to drill a hole about there on that. You know, ideally in the centre, but it hasn't actually got to be. Obviously, you've got to drop it on the floor again. That is a must. You know, that's kind of what you have to do. If you wonder why I drop things quite regularly, including chisels on my feet, my slippers on, is because I've got, you know, I had a carpal tunnel, and although the operation definitely worked, I'm not as dexterous as I used to be. So basically, I'm just drilling a hole in there. That's a 6mm hole I'm drilling in there. So the question is, how do you align that hole up? So if you're just doing one, you could probably do it with measurements, yeah, and mark it that way. But let's say, for instance, you've got 2. You've got to put 2 in there. I'll tell you what. Let's put 2 in. Because I can, you know, show my point, yeah? So let's put a second one in there. About there. Alright, so I've got 2 holes. So you'd have to find the centre of those 2 holes. It would be a bit tricky to find the centre perfectly in the middle to make sure that your dowel's lined up when you drill the 2 holes in here. So when you put that in there, you want that to line up with the 2 holes, yeah? But how do you do that? Yes, you could get really finicky and mark and put, you know, and then drill your holes. It takes ages. There's a quick and easy way around this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this in the vise that way, maybe. That'll do. So to see. Right, so that's got to be fixed to that. Right, this one I'm just going to put a screw in the back because I can. Quite easy because you can't see the screw, the head of the screw. So what I'm going to do is I've got these little things, and these little things are quite common in woodworking. Although I keep losing them. Yeah, I've lost another one of those, but I've got 2 of the old metal ones. The best ones are the wolf copper ones. Are some of the best ones you can get. These ones aren't so good. These are just something in a cheap pack, like pound store or something. Those sort of things there. And what they are, you get them in different sizes, 6mm, 8mm, 10mm, whatever size basically. This is a 6mm. So what you do is you push them in there like that, and you stick a little points on them. You know what I'm going to do, don't you? Really, really simple. This is not going to be quite so simple, this, because the wood's hard. Because I'm going to be trying to put a mark into a knot. But normally, if it's into a soft wood or something like that, they're easy make a little indentation. Literally just by, pushing it against your piece of wood. So now what I'm going to do now is, I'm going to position it into centre. Even though I'm doing it the wrong way round. It's got to be that way. Yeah, watch that. Don't do that. So make sure it's in the centre. Or wherever you want it to be. You don't have to be. If you don't want this, you might not want it in the centre. Right, like that. Then I'm going to use a mallet. Usually I use my 4 mallet normally. But I'll use a hammer. Just there. Right, and then you literally just tap it. It should, yeah, I say should, make an impression. And it has, thank God for that. There's 2 little dimples in there now, which have been left by these 2 little pins. And because they're obviously in the exact position, the dowels should line up perfectly, provided you get your holes in reasonably, accurately. And that's where these brad point bits are quite good for this purpose, because you can literally put the little point, or the brad point wood bit, right into the little indentation, and you can pretty much guarantee it's going to be exactly where it needs to be. Right? Now, before I fix this into place, let's remove these, because they fall out and then you end up losing them. That's how I lost the copper ones. I've only got one of those left there now. I've got the 10mm. I've got 2 8s. They're alright, these little metal ones are okay. The problem with them is they're thicker. So you can't, if you've got like a hair, you can't push them down so far, so close. The copper ones are a little bit thinner on the top, so you get much closer impression. It's a little bit more accurate. So that's going to be going on there like so. Before I get any further though, I know where this is going to be, because it's going to be in the middle there, right? I'm going to pre-drill me hole. There's a hole in my bucket. No? Okay. I'll shut up now. In the centre. I'm just doing it by eye. So making sure it's in the right place, because I don't want to have it too... It's probably about right. Maybe a bit lower. It's splitting the wood otherwise. I'm going to draw that in here. Make sure it's in the middle. It is. And then we're going to countersink the back, because I don't want any obstructions in the back here where the screw head's going to be when I put it against the wall. It's a little air drill. See, things I use a lot, like for instance a little countersink drill and what have you, I always have them set up, because it just makes sense. So let's put that on there like so. Let's put in the vise again to hold it. So what I'm going to do first is push it down onto there with some glue into the dowels. I need 2 dowels instead of the one now. So we're going to put a bit of glue in the hole. And that's the other reason you don't drill too far, because what happens, you'll lose your dowels into the bottom of the hole. So instead of them sticking out like that, they'll be down here. That's not very helpful, and your little tiny bit sticking out. So ideally they need to be the right depth. It just makes life a bit easier if they are. So we're just doing that hydraulics around it. We're going to tap that into there, spinning at the same time, making sure we get glue up the sides. All this thing about, squeeze it and all, you'll get your glue everywhere it needs to be. No, you won't. You'll get a load of areas that have no dry spots, basically, where there is no glue. So it's hydraulic in there, just getting to the bottom of the hole. And within these hydraulic, because I've got the little ridges on them, the glue squirts down the sides of them. So that's quite handy. There you go, that's in there. Remember, that's actually 2 bits of wood, really, because it's been held together with that screw. So, It's not ideal, I know, but so we're going to do the same with that. Put some glue into that hole. And this is going to be a bit more trickier to get together. And I'll put a glue up here as well, really, and up here while we're at it. Right, so we need to right, so this, I don't know if you can see that, these dowels are lining up in the hole perfectly. Yeah? And that's just because that's really cheap. You can buy those little sets for about £1. You get them in the pound shops. If you're in France, there's a place called Action. I think it's actually a Dutch company. And they sell them as well. Those black ones actually are from these ones. Right, the ones I just used are from Action. This is the hardest bit, is actually getting this to come together, really. This is when it all breaks on me or something horrible happens when I'm on camera. So I need to get that. Might be better off putting that into the vise, like so. If it'll grip it, because it's a bit on the end of the vise, I won't get so much grip on the end. Then tap that. I should use a mallet, obviously. Or you can use a block of wood. Rubber mallet is best. The only thing I'd say about that is that with the with an actual hammer, you get more shock. Is the microphone still working? That's a good question. Ba bum 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 bum. Yep, that's working. It's going down, just. Ooh, nearly. Doesn't want to go in though. Why doesn't it want? Why don't it want to go in? Right. And it should go in. Tell you what I'm going to do. Oh, all right. Let's just take it off. Doesn't want to squeeze up, so I'm going to have to use the vise or a clamp. It's getting there, but it's not squeezing up as it should. Be so careful. That one's going up. It's just that one. That one there. Doesn't want to know. Aha! That's doing it. You've got to tap it in the right place, haven't you? Let's try that one now. Literally hydraulicking, that's what's happening. It's the glue preventing me from squeezing it up. Oh my god, it's there now. Right. Right, I'll put a screw in the back of that one now. Shouldn't really need a screw in there, but I'm going to put one in because it's use it as a clamp. Penny Lane. See, even I have problems. Things go wrong. But yeah, that means you can't solve it or find a way, find a way around it. It's not... Oh. Well, I'll find right side screw now. One that's going to do the job. Aha, that'll do it. That'll do it. Now I'm going to put a clearance hole in for the actual screw itself, so we don't get the screw trying to force, or less likely to try and force and split the wood. Part of the problem is because I'm using timber that is not very good. So if I put that in there now, hopefully, touch wood, it'll pull that up nicely. Oh, no, it's just 2 little dowels causing such problems. Yeah, that's good then. Do have to re-glue that back in there, don't I? Pared it off there a little bit. Pop it in the vise. Obviously, normally you wouldn't have this problem. Okay. That's a 13 or 15 CFMs. It's quite a big compressor I got through there to run that. But you need it, else it won't work. Obviously, if you're using timber, that isn't. I had to put it in bad bit of wood. Obviously, everything would be a lot easier. It's good. Right, so now we're going to glue that back onto that. But I'm going to whack that should have a screw hole in it. Those are things I forgot to do, didn't I? That needs a screw hole in it, which I didn't really want after. It's not causing a problem. No, that's good. Whack some more glue into that. Penny Lane. What a shame. Like that. And I'm going to tap that back into place. Okay. Right, I'll put a screw into that. Into the back here, go into that bracket. Yeah, again, I'm going to use a clearance drill. In this case, a little 3mm drill bit. It doesn't split the bracket. Something else I'm going to do is grab a clamp. So I'm close to the edge, you see, in these corners and stuff. So if I put a clamp on there like that, about where the screw's going in, if it tries to spread the piece of wood and split the piece of wood, it won't. There's no way it's going to break away the clamp, is it? I don't think so. So I'll put a bit of a wax on the screw to help the screw along. Screw. It's in the bin. Oh, it's a bit. Ah, there it is. Don't know why I picked up an old one, old screw. That's it. That's it. It's pushing the glue out, so that's a good sign. Da-da, 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 da-da. Da-da, da-da. Okay, that's on there like that. Like that. So let's wipe that glue off while I'm thinking about it. There's the water. Water's here. Yeah, it's all wet. I can't believe how problematic those dowels were in the end. Makes no sense. But that's fine. Got a little bit of chip out there. So when you make these brackets, ideally the grain should be going that way, and then you'll get no tear out on the ends. So on that one I've got a bit of a chip on that corner. Just probably on the floor, look. Oh, there's my little Allen key. Put it back on its magnet where it belongs. Yes, I do like magnets. I have magnets all over the place. Hold things. I can't see it. It was probably on the floor somewhere. Because that's where it fell off. Oh, I found it. I've actually found it. What's the odds of that? Amongst all the other little bits of wood. So that, so I can just glue it back on there if I want. I'm not worried. So let's glue it back on. I'll glue it on, but I'll use my little 23 gauge pinner. And that'll be fine. But do you know what? I wouldn't actually bothered. Because of what I'm using it for. You know. And the fact about it is, how long is it going to be there for? I don't know. I might decide, like I said a bit earlier, I might decide, oh, this is not what I want. Or I might decide, really, I'll get a commercial bracket or something. Because the bracket I got isn't great. The wooden one. Only moves in one direction, you see. Yeah, that's on there. Not on there, let's put a pin in there as well. Add it as well. Okay, that's there. The great little 23 gauge pens are so handy. So really, it's just a case of giving it a good sanding. You can wax it or you oil it or whatever you want to do to it. I don't recommend using oil if you're going to be putting it directly onto the wall though, because you want to do that bleed into your emulsion. I'm forgetting about you again, aren't I? Let's have a look. Where are you? Oh, I've got my mouse with you. I'll have a look here. No, can't see that far. Where's my mouse gone? How can I lose? Oh, there it is. I'll say, how can I lose my mouse? Hello, Imam Ahmed. Was it Urban? Urban? Good afternoon, how are you doing? Hello, Hammer Tabu. Bonjour. Better get in the right. Oh God, yeah, he does that. You got mud in your eye. Was that the wrong way? Yeah. Oh, I wish I had time to watch. Hello, Doctor. How you doing, buddy? Doctor of Lunacy. We need doctors of lunacy, don't we? Well, I'll be clocking off in a second because I need to get myself sorted out for tonight, and also got some things to do. Hello, Upage. Hope you're well. Leveled up, okay. Leveling up. Oh my God, that's oxymoron, isn't it? Oh dear. do 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 do. Da, 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 da. So a bit of glue then to clean it off. Don't know why, but I am. Submarine. I've got that tune in my head now. You know why I got that tune in my head? Because I was doing my script for tonight, and I was talking about the Mini. Not literally just about Mini, other stuff as well, obviously. But then I've been thinking about the advert where, well, how the Beatles get into a Mini. Oh, there you go. Let's clean that side off. It's a bit grubby. We're on walk. Caroline keeps getting ill, and she keeps getting the infection, and in her kidneys, blood in the urine and stuff like that. So it's been horrendous for her. And she's had the blood the urine tests and stuff like that, and they found that she's got E. coli. Now, pretty much everybody has E. coli in the gut. But most people do. It lives there harmlessly. But there's lots of different strains of E. coli. One the H7 is quite dangerous. Anyway, I don't know what strain she's been getting, but anyway, she's been getting this infection that's been getting into her kidneys somehow. So we thought to ourselves, well, there's a possibility it could be our water because we're on a well. And although we do test it regularly, we don't know, maybe there's been missed it or what have you. We usually test the nitrates and stuff like that, and obviously acidity levels and all that sort of stuff. And anyway, we tested it last night, put the water into its little pot and left it for a while. But it's negative. There's no E. coli in our water, so we don't know where she's getting the infection from. It could be, it could be, I don't know, maybe she's not very careful when she wipes her bum or something, I don't know. Poor cow. But yeah, she had it about 6 months ago, all cleared up, had antibiotics, all cleared up. But so it's returned, so why is she getting reinfected? So, yeah. Obviously we have the same water. We don't. To be fair, the water's all filtered and we process. But we've got to think about the water that isn't necessarily processed. There's the stuff we use in the shower, baths and stuff like that. So, we only purify the water that we drink. I'm quite happy with that, I'll do. It's a bracket. So that's basically what it looks like. It's a bracket. So like I said, it's a simple design, but it works really well. Bring it right over here so you can see a bit better. That's better. Yeah, it's a simple design, but it does work well. So you got your little triangular brace. It could be equal triangle, but I just made it whatever size bit of wood I had. And this is old crappy wood that I've put in the freezer to kill any possible bugs that might be in it. Yeah, it's been in the freezer overnight. Oh, I missed a screw. Manger, oui, that's good timing. Yeah, I'll be there in a second, Dan. I've been told it's munchies time. Manger. My wife just come in there, shout manger, manger. And she's not even French. Put that on. Well, that's better. Squeeze more glue out. Woohoo! That's a good sign. Right. So yeah. So basically, that's your bracket. It's very simple. So I just literally let that into that. I haven't been too fussed about it. It's the principle I'm trying to show you. It's a simple design. Now, like I said earlier, if for instance that was your wall bracket with this piece here, and it's going to be a shelf unit, that piece here could actually be the shelf. It doesn't have to be a bracket. Or you could make a series of brackets like this and then fix a shelf on top of it if you want. But you can actually remove that fixing point there if you remove this bracket component and just put the shelf there, effectively shelf all the way along. This is just for one, which is going to have a microphone. Basically, I've got my microphone that pulls out. You've probably seen it in my videos. It sort of pulls in and out. at the moment it's literally got a screw up into underneath one of the oak shelves that are in the office already. That's what holds it into place. But the height is wrong. So as you can see there, that shadow on my face, yeah, I keep getting this weird shadow across my face. And it's getting really hard to light because obviously I've got a beautiful complexion, and I don't want to tarnish that because, you know, some people might fetish about me. No, obviously not. Even though I can't pull that one off. Definitely not. This is David Durago, if he's the boat. Oh dear. Anyway, so that's a bracket. Really, really simple. You can make multiple ones of these. You can set it up as a bit of a production line. If you've got table saw, this little channel here, who's rebate or rabbit, is actually really easy to make on the table saw. But also the other thing you can do, if you do it on a table saw, you can actually, if your wood is wider, you can cut that slot across in one go on 2 brackets. So that makes it even quicker. So there's lots of things you can do to make it easier. But this is made out of scraps I'm laying about. I mean, the quality of the wood is, yeah, manky. But it's strong, you know, really, really strong. You're not going to pull them off the wall. I'll tell you what pull off the wall is your silly screw fixers if you're using those old plastic roll plugs into plasterboard. That definitely will pull off the wall. But anyway, it's time for me to go because apparently I have Monday, you know. Monday, she said. So, anyway, I thought I'd share that with you while I was making that. Matt Adley, catch an live stream. Oh, cheers, buddy. Yeah, look forward to it, my friend. So, yeah, we'll be live tonight at 9 PM on the All Shorts channel. Talking about cars. When I say cars, I'm not, yeah, about the demise of the British car industry and how we've kind of got there. Not just because of Brexit, but since, well, before Maggie's time, I suppose. So I wrote a script, and it's quite long, actually. It's about 2,500 words. So it's yeah, nice one. Cheers, Bernard. I hope it's also helpful for some people as well, or just interesting to watch. Or maybe just like the sound of my voice. Oh, no, okay. Can't pull that off either. Oh, by the way, you know, before I go, I was gluing the bits of the wood together for that door that we're going to be making in the office again. We're just going to have the dry whiteboard in. But the piece of the wood that I glued together, absolutely fine because it's PVA. But if you remember, I mixed some Cascamite, pad resin, wood glue, and it's got a bit old, the wood glue is, and it's not going off at all. It's literally just like a crumbly mess. Yeah, not at all. The water's evaporated, so all the active ingredients in this batch of Cascamite are completely kaput. Now, this mix, this bag I bought, 25 kilo bag I bought this stuff, just before during the lockdowns, and before the Brexit deal, you know, before the coming to fruition, Brexit. Oh God. Anyway, I bought this sack. Anyway, they said that they changed the ingredients, and that's obviously not for the better. Really bad. So be careful with Cascamite. So if anyone wants to buy anything like Cascamite in the United Kingdom, go to glues.co.uk because they have their own brand of Cascamite, and it's excellent. It's the old recipe. I mean the old recipe, not like the latest recipes that Cascamite, which is by Polyvine, keeps trying to save money. Well, they push the foot most off this. Anyway, I am going to go now. So, ta-ta. See you later, everybody. So I'll say ta-ta. Oh dear. Oh, I hope it'll be fun tonight. Anyway. Bum, 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 bum. Where's the button's gone? I need to find a way of sorting this out. Oh, my camera's got one camera. I'll be down to none later. Yeah, ta-ta.